I think we're live.
We're live.
Yes. Hello. Welcome everybody to Darkish's live stream as always. Me and Hallie. If anyone else wants to come on, the link's in the description. If you've never been here before, this is super casual. We're just gonna have a chat about stuff. Probably the last month of episodes, which is the Mad Gasser of Mattoon and last week's one, which I've completely forgotten because I've started next week's one today.
The French Ripper.
Yes.
Rabbit hat guy.
Vache, yeah.
Yeah.
I just started next week's episode today, so it's like literally like information out is like information in, information out. It's like this. I'm starting to dump. So yeah, So we're gonna be talking about that. Well, that's where we're gonna start, and we'll see where you know what it's like if you've been here before. Starts there, doesn't it? And it sort of somehow meanders off. But yeah, how are you, Hallie? Are you well?
I'm good. So much better. I thought about it this morning. I was like, okay, the last live stream, you're just kind of doing that mental check thing. Like the last live stream was the beginning of the end for me because remember I had a cold, which was the beginning of the cold that turned into pneumonia.
I was going to say you had a bit more than a cold. For anyone that's not aware, Hallie's just spent the last month suffering pneumonia.
Spent the last month living in some like alternate universe that had nothing to do with reality. I don't even know. It was so bizarre. It was like everything. I felt like I should be able to do everything, but then, it's like go take a shower, come back, sleep for an hour because you're exhausted.
I like that you sent me that message saying, "Oh, sorry, I haven't really been in touch for the last week or so. I've had pneumonia." I think you're excused. Like, you know what? We'll let you off.
I know.
Get back to work.
Yeah, right? It's like, whoosh. Oh, thanks, Sharona. It's Sarah. Oh my gosh. Sarah says, she's like, what? The season of sickness has been brutal. It's so true. It's like everyone I talk to that's had, the cold, it's just, it won't let go. It's really like hanging on. I don't know what the deal is. It's like this cold this season has just been awful.
That's why I can't carry like hand fluid around with
sanitizer.
Me. Hand sanitizer and just pour it on children as they walk past in front of me. Just go away like this, the power of Christ compels you. Just whoosh, splashing it all over the place. Yeah, get out of my way. I don't want any germs.
Do you have like little sticks of incense that you carry too?
just to put out on them. Is the volume's okay, by the way? Because I got a new thing, so I don't know if I'm too loud or too quiet or.
I hear you fine. I mean, you're at a good level. I don't know if we're okay.
I think it's always kind of okay here. That's the worst thing, and this doesn't have a meter like the old one. So I have no idea if anyone else can hear me. Hey, Panda. Hello, Panda.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
How you doing?
Oh, see, okay. Hi there. See, Sarah Hansen just said, she just answered the question that I've always had. It's like, does hand sanitizer really do anything, or is it just a marketing ploy? And she says hand sanitizer is useless.
Yeah.
It actually helps you find minute paper cuts on your hands that you didn't know existed.
This is true.
And as a hairdresser, I have several sort of cuts and paper cuts all over my fingers. So find that quite frequent. But yeah, no, it might be useless from like a medical perspective, but from a mental health perspective, it's magical.
Oh, I don't know.
Every day I just douse myself in it. Like, just to be able to live. I mean, if I could, I would literally go outside like Slimer, like sort of covered like in a film of sanitized.
You would be the boy in the bubble if you could.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. 100%. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
This cat, you guys. This cat. Like
just
I have oh, and then there's Panda's cat in the back.
Yeah, thanks. Good job.
I'm going to show everybody my cat now. Just it's, look at that.
Look at her.
Perfect.
Isn't she gorgeous? She's gorgeous.
Do you know the secret? It's just put an electric blanket on and good as gold.
Oh my God,
she'll
you're
just
right.
crash out in the heat.
Yeah. You want the heating cat?
She's actually
for some
got
reason-
like a special cat's electric blanket that someone bought for her once.
I know, but I totally just remembered I have a heating pad right by my feet from when I was sick. Come on, look it. Okay, we're gonna see if that works. I just set the cat trap.
So yeah, Amanda, how have you been this last month? How's your month been?
Great.
Sounds
I
brilliant.
have no idea what I've been doing, but yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Thanks for asking. Yours?
Yeah, it's about the same, to be honest.
I did stuff and things, that people tend to do.
It's February, nothing really happens, does it? Except from
Valentine's Day? Yeah.
oh, fuck that.
No.
I just grouched about on Valentine's Day, throwing rocks at people as they pass my house.
That's so romantic.
Stop being happy.
Yeah, right.
Ben's the old man that yells, "Get off my lawn!"
Yeah. Look at you people and your relationships.
Right. He's like, it won't last.
Yeah.
You're happy today.
Right.
Sue's laughing tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. We'll see who's happy tomorrow.
Sign a prenup. He's just saying like all these horrible things.
That's what you should do, is just put like a little table and chair in front of your place with like prenups, just like blank ones, just fill in the blanks. You just hand them out to couples as they walk by.
Sarah says, sorry, not sorry, we're happy. Because they've solved the murder mystery because Mr. Sarah went on there. See, Sarah and Mr. Sarah are the worst.
See, but they're great though.
I see, but that's why they're the worst, because you're just like, oh, look at them, they're so happy.
I know, but see,
this
it's
is not what I tell myself every night before I cry myself to sleep.
but if you could be happy, I would want to be happy the way they're happy, like a murder mystery dinner on Valentine's Day. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Okay, so you solved the murder mystery.
Who was it?
Did Mr. Sarah do it? Like, did Mr. Sarah do it? Was it Mr. Sarah in the basement with the hatchet? And the fact that was like a wedding event, like after a wedding, that was like the whole like kind of reception thing. It was the husband at the wedding. See?
Oh, I see. True love doesn't last.
It's precisely what I've been saying all this time.
But true murder will find a way.
Hold on, it was the husband at the wedding, so he wasn't the husband for very long then. I mean, that really didn't last, did it?
You just needed it long enough to get like the life insurance policy.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as the ink dried on the marriage certificate, he was like, done.
Just about let the ink dry. That's it. You're done.
I think she said Mr. Sarah solved the murder. I'm waiting for confirmation here. That would be amazing.
Hey.
It's because he's listened to so much Dark Histories.
Yeah. We'll take the credit for that.
Oh my gosh.
I don't solve anything.
Oh no. Mr. Sarah killed the best man who was having an affair with the bride. Wait, I'm so confused. Mr. Sarah killed somebody at the...
For the record, those just tuning in, this is a show that they were part of.
Yeah, this isn't real life.
We're not openly discussing our murderous actions.
Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate it.
Someone just comes in and they're like, oh wow, Dark Histories got real dark. Okay.
Just laying down the groundwork for a future episode.
Oh my God. That's amazing. Yeah, see? Matt didn't kill, let's see, Mr. Sarah didn't kill anyone. Oh, okay. Mr. Sarah figured out that the groom's the one who killed the best man. Okay, thank you. I appreciate I really needed help with that.
He didn't kill the wife?
No, he's the one that figured out that the groom's the one that killed the best man, because the best man was, doing...
having extramarital relations, literally.
Either way, one of them, the bride or the groom, are unhappy at the end of it. So that's the sort of wedding that makes me feel better about my life.
Sounds like a modern American wedding, if you ask me.
And they live happily ever after.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
I mean, till death do us part. It was taken right up
That's
until
right.
that point.
Oh my god. Really, B? Okay, so the cat trap didn't work. Now she's totally like on the opposite side of the bed laying on my pillow, but that's okay. She's not
Did you
in front
turn the
of me.
heating pad on, Hallie?
I
You just
did.
put it up. Okay. You just
I
throw
did.
it on the ground as a diversion.
Yeah. See, what I should have done is just got a box and thrown it on the bed because God knows you can't have an open box with a cat in the room, right?
Right.
I mean, is it just my cat? Because if there's a box, boom, there's a cat.
It's not even yours. It's like a stray cat. You're like, what the hell?
I know. You think it came in the box, you know?
Right.
It's like all of a sudden Amazon's shipping cats with their boxes. That would be bad.
I would order. Actually, I already ordered too much from Amazon, but that would be great if they did.
Oh god, you know,
If they ship cats?
With every order, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you
no.
imagine how many you'd end up with? You need like a
That-
recycling bin for. You've got one for your cardboard and one for your cats. Just
That would be a nightmare because I get on average about 5 boxes a day.
Oh, I was taking it that you wanted Amazon to ship literal live cats to you.
yeah, I do.
I was like,
He does.
Yeah, with every
Ben
order.
does.
Can you imagine that?
it's like Fragile, handle with care. You just see him like chuck it at your front door. God, I hope that was the book I needed. Anyway, enough
They
about
could train them to
Schrodinger's
deliver your
cat.
stuff. Which sort of reminds me of a book I was reading in the week where the CIA tried to train cats to spy on the
Oh,
Russian embassy.
yeah. No, you don't. Did you ever? I don't know. Do you listen to the Memory Palace? Because like that was like one of his.
Yeah.
That was one of his first episodes. Was when he talked about them wiring the kitty,
It's amazing. Yeah, and it was
the
actually
spy
the,
kitty.
the operation
across
was
the
actually
street.
called like what was it? It was called something like Listening Kitty or something like
Yeah,
that.
I'll find it right now. But okay, spoiler alert. So fast forward like 15 seconds if you don't know the story. But so the kitty's crossing the street, gets hit by a car.
They trained it because they were like, oh, you know, what animal can we use that would not be suspicious? And cats just sit on walls and everyone ignores them. So they trained this cat to sit outside the embassy, and then they released it out the back of a van, and it walked straight under another van.
Aw.
But you can't train a cat like that. That's the problem.
but at the end of the
Secret
operation,
kitty.
Secret
Secret
Kitty, yeah,
Kitty.
Operation
Yeah,
Secret
see-
Kitty, and they
You know what'd be
actually
hilarious?
they
Is
won
it-
like awards for like training cats or whatever.
You know, it'd be
It's-
hilarious is if like they train the cat, like it knows Russian, it could throw ninja stars, and then the minute they set it out, it gets hit by the car because they didn't teach it to look both ways crossing the street. But he's like, "Niet, Mother Russia!" Like, here I go, and he's like with his little ninja. Okay, sorry, I just. Alley. I'm sorry. Continue.
So that was the thing, wasn't it? Because they were really concerned that
Yeah.
that because it was dead on the street, they had to quickly go and get it before anyone else did, because it had all this like bug equipment on it or
It
whatever.
was like trying to recover a downed plane or something.
Yeah, exactly. Hello,
Hi,
Sharona.
Hey guys,
Do you have
So-
some headphones or something, Sharona? Because I can hear myself.
I'm really just here for 1 minute, so I.
Oh
can
right,
try
okay.
this.
How are you doing?
Do it.
This is all he does. He has been in this spot
Oh.
all day.
Is he alive?
Yes.
Oh, it's
That was it. That's all he does. That's my cat.
Oh my god. Oh,
And
that's great.
I'm out.
There we go. Little impromptu cats for you.
Please post your cat pics in the general
Yeah.
topic of the Dark Histories Discord so that we can comment later.
Oh my
Oh
god.
man, so
That's amazing.
I mean, we'll get on to Vache in a minute and all that. But this week, because I've been learning piano recently, right? I've been
Mhm.
watching piano videos on YouTube,
The
and
one
there's
you
this
moved.
cat,
Yeah.
and well, there's this piano guy. This is a whole channel dedicated to this guy who plays his piano, and the cat just sleeps on the hammers over the back, and it just lays there, and he plays along, and the whole time the cat's just like getting knocked around by the hammers all over the place, but just completely asleep, doesn't give a monkeys. It's an amazing channel because there's all this lovely piano music and just getting this silly cat that just sleeps right next to the hammers the whole time.
Is it? See, Sharona's seen that channel. Is it as good as the Japanese lady with the cats in a train?
The Korean lady, it's not quite as good as that. It's much more relaxed. Yeah,
Japanese.
The Korean channel is incredible. What was it called? Like Cream Patrol or something like that.
Oh my god! All I know is that when Ben told me about this YouTube channel, I was like, do I need to use like my Tor browser for this one? Because I'm like, is this safe for work? Because it doesn't sound like it.
Not suitable for work.
Oh yeah, it totally didn't sound like it.
Yeah, no, it's completely bizarre. It's not really safe for life, really, is it?
Not, you get sucked down. It's like you totally just, I don't even know.
Yeah, and it's got hundreds and hundreds of these videos of just her and her cats. Well, not even her though, is it? It's just her cats, never her. Bizarre.
No, you never see her, but she's got money. I'm telling you right now.
Well, she's got amazing cats because they're just the most behaved cats I've ever seen in my life. She
Well,
can train
just-
a cat to sit outside the CIA and spy.
Well, not just that, but cream heroes. That's what it is.
Cream heroes.
Yeah.
So
Just-
everyone just leaves now and starts
I
watching
know, I
Cream
know.
Heroes.
Yes, I know, right? But yeah. Lotus Flower, I have dogs and cats. So yeah, I'm actually more of a dog person than a cat. But you know, when you have a
Same.
cat, you can't really.
I wish I could have both, but my cat would not.
No. Actually, your cat would do fine with a dog, but it has to be the right dog. She has to pick it.
She's been here in like this apartment for like 11 years by herself.
Yeah, they can be
she's
pretty
so
territorial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the other day I was just sitting in the lounge and I just heard this like, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, "Oh, cat, what are you doing?" And I came in the bedroom and she was just like smashing herself against the window because there was a cat outside. And I was just like, "Oh, just relax, cat. It's another cat. Not even in the garden. It was like, just she could see it."
And those cats, man, those little Bengals, they can, yeah.
She's quite aggressive.
You don't mess with them. I'm telling you right now.
So, first
yes,
episode.
okay.
What was it?
The Mad
Gasser
Gasser.
of Mattoon. Yes. What did we think of the Mad Gasser of Mattoon?
It sounds like a Star Wars title, first off.
Yeah.
It does, but I have to admit, Panda, did you get Ben's notes?
Yes, and thank you, Ben, for posting notes on time and attaching the link to get on the screen. Dude, apparently leap year is Ben's day. Let me just say.
I'm on it, right?
Right, you're on fire, man.
I even managed to remember to post the bonus episode this month.
I know. I was blown away. This felt like a weird Twilight Zone. I'm like, who is this?
So do you know the story behind the bonus episode for January that doesn't exist?
I
that
didn't
exists?
tell anybody.
I should probably tell people, right? So on
I
Patreon, there's
just
the
bug
bonus
you, that's
episodes.
all. I just,
And I did the January one, right? And I sat here, I recorded it, and I done it, and I posted it. And about 2 weeks later, Hallie said to me, "You haven't posted the bonus episode yet." And I was like, "Yes, I have. Did it 2 weeks ago. Don't worry about it." And that was that. And about a week later, she was like, "You still haven't posted that episode." And I was like, "No, I have." So I looked it up and I was like, "No, I haven't." So I've got the January bonus episode, but it's all done, but it's super topical. So I'm going to sort of hold on to it for now and just drop it one day when when it seems
When the
there's-
stars align.
yeah, when there's more time between now and when because I'm sitting there talking about New Year's, so when it doesn't seem awkward that I'm talking about New Year's.
So next year?
Well, that would be a good idea, but sadly, I think I actually said 2020. So
when do you think that'll be appropriate in the new year? You're gonna slip that in like November and be like, so the new year in 2020. Be like,
Either that or just overdub it, and you'll just
Well, I
get
mean, you
20,
have to,
21.
or you'd have to throw it in like October for like Yom Kippur, like Jewish New Year, or like pick a different like cultural New Year for that to be applicable.
Yeah, no, just totally dub it in like a bad Godzilla movie. You know, it's like,
Yes.
so January 2021. You know, like,
Yeah.
like you were saying, you know, just make it a really bad cut in. Just totally obvious.
That'd be fine.
Morelli wants her Patreon money back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just paid my rent.
No, but I
But
did.
what's
I
it-
kept bugging you. I'm like, bonus app. You gotta post
I
that.
know, but I posted it. I'm sure I posted it. But obviously not. This is what you get for like trying to like do things at 4:00 in the morning. Mad Grafton Ratoon. What
Yes,
do you think?
about the episode or like theories.
Whatever you like. I was just trying to get it off the topic of Patreon, to be honest. Patreon revolt.
It's funny because I guess we're just gonna go like straight into theories, are we? Well, actually, what I was gonna say about the notes is, for those of you who aren't able to get the notes for Ben's episodes, he puts in sweet things like this, where you're going through, you're reading about like carbon tetrachloride and blah blah blah, and then sweet ether-like odor, and then you read shit comparison, but carbon monoxide at 2:00 a.m. And you're like, wait, what? So, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God. No, it's great. It really is. It's fabulous.
They helped me like trigger my memory later.
Yes.
I actually really love that you color coded. Thank you.
Yeah, I know.
That's a new thing that was really useful.
I don't know who this organized, color coded, bullet
He just
point
figured that
timeline
out.
Ben is, but if he can make more appearances, he's doing great job.
Yeah, it was useful, wasn't it? I found that as well. I was like, I'm going to try doing this week.
That'll last about 2 episodes. Okay, so okay.
No, it's true. And then it's like you get to September 11th, 1944. Reports fewer, possibly due to physical exams and not wanting to be told, quote, just anxiety. Chill out for fuck's sake, unquote.
Well,
So when you read this and you're listening to the episode and you hear him say everything else but chill out for fuck's sake, you're like,
I was trying to capture the mood.
I was dying. Oh my God, I was dying. Yeah, because see, when he goes into theories, like literally the first thing on his Mad Gasser theories is number 1, batshit stuff.
Yeah.
Because there was loads of batshit stuff, right?
But I'm right there. I'm right there with Bianca. She said the whole, like ape from space thing,
Oh yeah, that was incredible, wasn't it?
like space Bigfoot or something. I
love that
I
theory.
don't know. Yeah.
I love the fact that she was the only one that could see it, and instead of going, maybe I'm mental, she just went, double down. That's even more like it's real. It just confirmed to her that it was definitely real. She was brilliant.
Yeah, she says she sees it walking like across the lobby, and it turns and looks at her like, "I see you," and it's just got. See, Mr. Sarah likes the space ape theory too.
It was beautiful, wasn't it? I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I
What do you,
liked that theory a lot.
Panda? Do you like the space ape theory?
It just made me think of a live stream that we did where we talked about.
Oh, Panda's frozen.
Oh, she froze. Where we
Where
talked about insert here.
What I liked was that it because of the what time that it was set and all the rest of it made me feel like it should be black and white and sort of cardboard sets and like a space ape in like a shiny aluminium foil
Yes.
space suit with like one of those ray guns that have got kind of like bubble shaped or whatever, like a proper
Yes.
kind of early Star Trek kind of.
Okay, I know I'm totally aging myself here, but and you guys, I don't know if you got it or not, but do you remember that show called Lost in Space?
Yeah, yeah. I used to watch it on
Yes, you
Sundays.
remember it? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it reminds me of.
It used to be on Sunday lunchtimes here.
Hmm.
Lost in Space and Land of the Giants, I think. It was brilliant.
Lost in Space, or My Favorite Martian. I don't know. Did you guys get My Favorite Martian?
I don't know that one.
Tara wants you to say aluminium again.
Aluminium? Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
aluminum, isn't it?
Well,
At
it
this
sounds better
at this
coming
time
from
of-
you. So
At this time of morning, it's aluminum. If this episode was on at like 5 hours earlier, I might have something to say about that. But but I think I know my audience at the moment.
I loved My Favorite Martian. It was
But
a
yeah.
great show. No, that's
So
what it
so
reminds
we
me
all
of.
kind of thinking it was Space Ape then.
Oh, absolutely Space Ape. But on a real side note, I oh boy.
Oh, Trent. Oh wait, we're losing everybody. Hallie, am I here? Is this my internet or is it?
Trent's here. I see you now.
All right, you're back. That's all right. It kind of we got Trent straight away saying aluminum USA. Bloody Trent. So what were you saying, Hallie? Sorry, it paused right in the middle. I don't know if it paused for everyone, but I missed it anyway. So
I don't even know now. See, hey, it's like poof, gone. Oh boy, Trent, America. No, but
so what do
I
you
think
think, Trent? Come on, who do you think did this one? Get Mad Gasser.
Trent's gonna go all out with complete and total public hysteria.
Trent should be saying that it's a space ape because that's about as D&D as you can get.
Right, but Trent's not really D&D. He just tries to be D. Like when it comes right down to it, Trent's like unbelievable, totally. Sharon says, Trent, back me up here. See, okay, I'm right there with Sharona because Sharona's saying World War II era Mad Gasser equals government conspiracy. Okay, hear me out.
Go for it.
Oh, wait, Morelli wants to know what is public hysteria. Ben, that's you.
What do you mean? What's public hysteria?
She's like, she wants you to explain, what's the whole thought process behind that aspect of the theory of public hysteria, like mass hysteria.
Oh, right.
Was
So
created.
it was like I should have my notes, shouldn't I? So that it's actually categorized medically with 11 different kind of bullet points, and it has to hit a certain amount of, I think, 7 out of the 11. If it passes 7, then it's kind of medically announced as this. But basically, it's just the idea that everyone just kind of winds each other up in especially in closed systems. So if it's a small isolated town, it will be compounded. But basically, it's just where everyone winds each other up. A bit like if anyone remembers the Doppelganger episode, that was another one where so everyone they start telling the story, and because they're telling the story, it gets worse and worse and worse because everyone starts panicking and thinking it's going to happen to them, and then because they panic, they get unwell or whatever because they're having panic attacks. A lot of these Mad Gasser attacks, they didn't say as much because I don't think maybe panic attack wasn't so so much of a normal word at the time, but a lot of these Mad Gasser attacks sounded like panic attacks to me. The way that they were described medically, they had chest pains, they found it difficult to breathe. They felt nauseous. Some of them threw up, but not that many of them. These are all kind of symptoms of panic, right? Like anxiety and panic attacks. So it led me apart from smelling sweet things, but then if I suppose that's where the hysteria comes in, where you feel like you smell something sweet and that sets you off, right? Straight away. But there is actually, say, like a properly kind of
She's back.
11 bullet points. Let me get them up and I'll read them to you. Because there is like 11 points that mass psychogenic illness. That's it, isn't it? Oh, it's not there. Damn. I can't remember the book that I was reading. I pulled that 11 point thing out of it was either an academic paper or a book, and I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, there is like an 11 point thing. I'll try and dig it out next time I'm not talking. But yeah, go on, Hallie. You said so Hallie has like a conspiracy theory.
I do. Well, yeah, because this whole well, you might not know about it. Do you know anything about the Flint water crisis, Ben?
Yes, sort of.
Okay.
Some, not deep about it, but I know what it is. That's where there was that. Is everyone dying? That
I'm here. I
Do
don't
you
know.
You got that.
It's the government. It doesn't want us talking about this.
Yeah, right.
I had a blue screen of death, and it was like, the government was like, public service announcement, shut up, Panda, we're on to you. And I was like, okay. Well, and then they kicked me off of the StreamYard.
So you froze, Hallie, right as you were about to explain it, but it's to do with water quality in Flint, wasn't it?
Yeah, what happened was they were trying to do this whole not depend on like a major city for their water, so they were going to put in their own water system and do a bypass. And the thing is that they didn't coat the inside of the pipes with this thing that's supposed to prevent the corrosion of the pipes. And because it would have cost too much to do it, so just don't do that and let the water go. But because they didn't do that, so the pipes corroded, and then people started getting like really, really ill, and the government was just in total like full face front denial, and I mean down to the mayor going, here, I'll drink it,
But then he didn't do it or something. Wasn't there something like that? There was a bit of a farce where he said, oh, they said to him, do you drink the water? And he was like, of course I drink the water. And they said, go on then. And he went,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
maybe
okay. I'm not thirsty. Yeah, I'm not
yeah.
thirsty. I'm fine. I just had a bunch. Yeah, no, really, I'm good. But I just think that the government's shady. I mean, they do shit like that. And I mean, how many times have you heard of things that the government's done that didn't come out until way later, where they were trying to figure out how something worked? And trust me, I am not a conspiracy theorist. That's not my thing. It's just not, for whatever reason. But it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, the whole MK Ultra thing was this big government experiment.
if it was real.
If it was real. And if it wasn't, well, there's a lot of really good fake information on it that they put out. And it's just, see, like Sharona said, she goes, here's my take. During World War II, the government was doing everything they could to find a way to defeat the Axis forces once and for all. Yeah, H-bombs. And to me, the whole thought with, it's kind of like testing chemical warfare. You've got to figure out if it's going to work or not. And so it would also make sense with, there wasn't just one mad gasser trying to go everywhere. If it's a government thing, you could have multiple people out in different areas doing this.
Can I just point out, if we're going to go with this theory, though, that when this happened during during the Japanese one, you all told me I was mental.
I mean, you are, so I'm trying to see.
Yeah,
because it's kind of the same thing, right?
What's the correlation?
Yeah.
You said I was mental for believing that guy just because he had an armband on, right? But this is the same thing. Like, this is essentially.
No. We said you were mental for actually saying that you would take a drink of it just because he was wearing an armband.
But I would probably sniff that hanky as well, like. Because that's what you do, right? You find something new and you give it a sniff.
No.
It's like identification.
No. No.
You have other senses. Not that I'm saying you should eat the cloth, but like your eyes can clearly tell
Start
you
licking it.
stray cloth doesn't belong here. And you're like, I don't remember hanging the laundry out to dry. Like,
You know what, Ben? Just stay in your little bubble until the coronavirus thing is gone, okay? No, and see, the thing is that you could have multiple people out there doing it at the same time instead of just, one person trying to go all the way around. But let's see, what did Sarah say?
Yeah,
goes-
see this. This is what it might be my problem as well. Why test out your own civilians when you can drop it on the Germans or the Japanese? Precisely that.
Okay, but it's like Sharona said too. Instead of doing it in a large city, you do it in a smaller town because there's less chance of news coverage and you can better control fallout in a smaller area, which is true. I do like the way that Ben totally bypassed Trent's comment, which says, quote, "Does this rag smell like chloroform?"
Yeah, exactly.
Which is totally,
Since we're talking about the rag, can we bring up the mad factory owner or the mad mayor who decided that it
Let's blame
somehow
everybody else.
crept out of the factory and distilled itself onto this rag?
Yeah, no, it just, yeah. But I mean, I'm sorry. It's not the first time the government's tried to experiment on its own people. It's just not.
So you
and
reckon
it's
that's
not
actually
going to be the
credible then,
last
Helen?
time, too. I think that it's more credible than a space ape.
Well, what about you, Panda? What do you think?
I don't know. I was trying to really
Smell the glove.
No, Sharona says Ben would be so easy to kidnap. Does anyone want a Ben?
Oh my god.
He totally would.
For an extra $5 to your Patreon donation, you too can kidnap.
All you have to do is say, "Can you help me find my puppy?"
I mean, if there's
We
any sort
read
of market,
pieces
Sharona,
of
you want to
chloroform
start.
cloth around his neighborhood, and
I just want to say that if there's any sort of market, then you want to be doing this in bits. Like chop off toes first, and rather than sell a whole Ben. Surely
Right.
was. Does anyone want Ben's foot? We could make some money out of this.
that's. I don't know. For conspiracy theory, I can see it, but then I think about how the government runs the DMV office, and I'm like, they're not even that organized on that level, so I find that hard to believe. So I don't know. And then the space ape, yeah, that was just funny. I was telling Hallie when you released this episode, I kind of want to stick to the 4 guys that you originally talked about that were like chemistry majors and from the high school. I think that there's something there that maybe it was like a prank gone awry. Because what's interesting is, I think it was, let me see what I wrote.
They're interesting as well. There's some really interesting sort of side stuff to that as well. But go on.
So, yeah, you said Maxine and Frances Smith. The Smith sisters were attacked more than once. I think it was 3 times that you said. They were the ones that got attacked the most, right? And that Frances was a principal of the school. And I didn't know if that was in correlation to like the kids before high school kids. And I was wondering, I told Hallie, and I'm like, I wonder if it was like a spurned lover, because like the Smith sisters just keep getting like gassed multiple times. Everybody was like once. So either they're really loving the attention, or I think they were the main target for whatever reason. Like, hey, she like didn't want my advances, or she gave me an F on my English paper, or whatever the case that people do. But that was kind of my thought process, that these 4 like hoodlums were in cahoots, and that's why they're able to hit so many areas. And I think that's also why the effects of the gas were different from each victim, because you have all 4 of them who were like, oh man, was I supposed to mix the water then the powder? I'm just gonna do whatever. And then that's why one person passed out, the other person got burns, the other person like became paralyzed. So that was just
See, I totally almost went on a huge tangent right there.
Before we hit tangents,
I didn't. I stopped myself.
Oh, okay, go on.
No, Trent said you call it mutilation and disgusting. He calls it being a collector, because we're not surprised that he would take a bento. But my thing with the whole mass hysteria thing, and you alluded to it when you were doing the episode, it's like okay, certain symptoms, yes, can, you can kind of make yourself sick to a certain extent. Like an anxiety attack is what you had mentioned in the episode. You can feel dizzy and, you can pass out the whole. I mean, some people have anxiety attacks to the point to where they feel like they're truly having a heart attack. I mean,
yeah.
legitimately. I mean, they'll go to the ER, the whole 9 yards. But I mean, when it comes to like certain, like the vomiting and I just have a hard.
I used to have a friend who threw up every time he had a panic attack.
It was disgusting.
Would like have to go outside and throw up before it, like just to, and then I won't go into it.
I guess it was like, I mean, what are the chances that there's that many people that can make themselves do that, like at will, sort of,
I know. I still think it could feasibly be a panic attack. Like I think that doesn't discredit it. So I used to have a friend who had a panic attack.
So you've
and
got
he would throw
one
up
little.
all the time.
So you got one little small town with a bunch of people that can make themselves throw up at once.
Well, they weren't all throwing up. That's the thing. The only thing this is a bit of a tangent. So I want to quickly go back to the four guys just to point out that's the interesting part about the four guys is that only two of them were ever like really named, and the other two, no one knows who the police guy was actually talking about. So there is speculation that he just said that to bolster the numbers to make it seem like the police were like doing more than they were, because there was only ever really two suspects that anyone's ever really known the names of, and the other two are just nobody. It was sort of like he said four, but then they never really talked about them ever again after that point. But yeah, no, talk about the panic attack stuff. I forgot what I was going to say, but the only thing that puts me off it thinking it was panic attacks and things like that is that some of them got like burnt lips and burnt throats, and they actually had like swollen lips and stuff. I mean,
about that, I don't know if we can ask the doctors and medical people that are on like our stream, but like I don't know, I don't come into much contact with chloroform. So, but like, is that a common reaction? Because you just see in movies, you know what I mean? They're just like chloroform, and then it's like Ace Ventura. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So you don't see the after effect where it's like swelling lips and like blistered skin. So I don't know if that's an actual like side effect of chloroform. I guess
I think chloroform is like on skin. I think it burns, because I remember when I did the episode about that guy who drank chloroform, and they were saying that when you drink it, it would burn the inside of your throat. So I'm fairly sure it's like a sort of corrosive or whatever, or I don't know, but it would burn.
If you
irritant or whatever.
And then also a lot of people are saying
Right, so we're talking about gassing, and they're talking about my hair.
And your voice.
I cut my own hair. Thanks very much. I'm quite proud of that.
You should have seen it about 15 minutes before we went live.
Caustic, that's the word, Trent. Yes.
Yes.
Chemical burns for sure, Sarah says. Is it weird that we're divvying up Ben's parts?
Nah.
No, it's okay.
And then what's interesting is that you said a lot of the witnesses said that it smelled like chloroform. So was that like a common occurrence that people were just hanging around chloroform enough to
know what it smells like? Yeah.
Well, and
to give a really bad example, like obviously I live in Los Angeles, right? And marijuana is legal here, so we know what it smells like. You know what I mean? Like anyone here could be like, "Oh, that's pot," but I'm sure if we took this to some podunk small area, not everyone would be like, "Yes, that's marijuana that she's smoking." You know, like was it so common that everybody knew what chloroform was? They're just like, "Yeah."
And Sharona said something that I was just going to ask: is who knows what chloroform smells like? I don't know what.
I don't know what chloroform smells like.
I mean, like if I was smelling it, I don't know that I go, "Oh, chloroform."
Yeah, I have no idea. I always assume that it smells like chlorine, but I think that's more like the word. like
Play on
chloroform,
word.
chlorine. Yeah, that's close enough. That's what it smells like.
Chloride. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's similar. Okay, who uses lye? Trent. I don't know what lye smells like either.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Trent's yes, his chair says, should we be concerned?
I always whenever
with
Trent's
Trent,
involved. Yeah.
yeah, see, just like he said, don't ask too many questions, you'll be better off that way.
So are we all like? Does everyone believe though that like, am I gonna be alone in my corner here that doesn't think that there was a gasser at all? Or I don't know if I would go that far, but I'm not down with a gasser so much. I think perhaps there was a gasser at first, but I sort of think it was some sort of combination. I don't know the ratio, but I think it was a combination between hysteria and a real person.
I could see that, but I think at some point something happened. Like there was an event. I'm not saying it was one person going around sticking stuff inside people's windows, but I'm saying at one point there was something happened. Like there was an event that happened, something, whether it's from the factory or the government or the space ape, something happened that made people sick, that made like someone or some house sick. And then I could see it I could see it launching from that point forward and everybody kind of jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, like I don't think they just sort of pulled it out of nowhere and went, oh, we're all smelling this weird smell and getting sick. I think perhaps there was like an impetus for it, but
right.
And so I think that probably there was a gasser somewhere, and there is a like, but then you start sort of wondering, okay, where's all the evidence? Like if you look at the evidence, like some of it's pretty flimsy. Like the woman who found the rag and sniffed it, she went looking around her house and found like a rusty old key and a stick of used lipstick. Well, they're items that could have just been dropped on the floor by anyone at any point, and you would have overlooked them unless you were looking for things that had been dropped on the floor, right? So that I don't necessarily think that had anything to do with like the mad gasser. But I don't think there was really a gasser. I think that maybe there was, but not anywhere near what was reported. What's going on?
No, just you all the time. You're like, I don't think there was a gasser. And then like 30 seconds later, you're always like, well, maybe there wasn't. I don't think there was somebody who poisoned the tea, but maybe there was a possibility. Always with you. It's never one side or the other. You're like, there definitely wasn't a serial killer, but it could have been a guy who killed 5 people in the area.
Yeah.
Can you just pick a side, Ben, please?
Yeah, no, I can't ever, because I'm like, it's like constant
He's
argument
never-
with myself.
Yeah.
I think it was somewhere in between. I really do, but I think I just don't know the ratio. If I was going to say anything, I would say it's like 80% hysteria, 20% gasser. But I mean, what does that really mean?
That you erred to the side of mass hysteria? But it's just funny, you were like, no, I don't think there was a gasser, but there could have been like just...
Well, there was just such a lack of evidence, and just a lack of. I mean, yeah, there was a couple, but then because when I said that makes me argue with myself is that there's a lack of evidence, but a couple of people did see someone like creeping away from the houses late at night and stuff like that. I don't think. Go on.
Did you see Ken Whalen's comment? Can you put that on screen?
There are stories about
they're
shaman.
really good. Because that's a really good point.
This one.
Yeah.
Naturally,
Oh.
what's it? Oh,
like
right,
the Oracle
yeah.
of Delphi?
Well, no, that's like, I mean, in multiple areas that's happened. There's, there's stories
What,
of that
so you reckon
happening.
that maybe there was
multiple
natural
areas.
gas under the floor of Mattoon or something, and it was creeping up.
It's kind of like what we've been talking about in chat, because Morelli had said, could it have been something that was naturally occurring? And I had said, has anybody ever been around like the naturally occurring mineral hot springs? Because when you're around one, you won't realize that's what you're around, but the smell of sulfur is so strong around the hot springs, like the mineral hot springs. And I was like, I mean, Sarah said yes, and then Morelli said yeah, she did in Florida. I remember some in like Nevada. I remember, so it's not like it's just one area of the U.S. It obviously happens in multiple places. But
these hot springs cause like chemical contact burns on the skin.
it's you're actually, there are signs everywhere that tell you not to get too close to them because they will cause like serious damage.
So
in
what's
multiple
the,
different ways.
So
but-
what's the theory here? Is that there's like
Well,
a natural gas sort
That
of
might be that there's something
release?
natural that was released that, I mean, I don't know what the geology of the area is at all. I have no clue.
Mm.
Well, if Ben put a map up like it was requested,
But I do have and then when Ken made the comment about, you know, caves and then gases building up, and actually, Ken, that reminds me, okay, everybody knows that I believe in Bigfoot. So on the recent show, on the recent show that was on the Travel Channel, I think it was like Finding Bigfoot or something like that. Anyway, one of the last two episodes, they found this cave and they started to go into it. Well, as they were going in, one of the doctors, Tara, they found out through research, and it was kind of like happening at the same time, that if they went too far in, there was a chemical in the cave that if they started to inhale it, it could kill them. Like literally, it would kill them. So they had to contact them via radio and hope that their radio was still working because they were so far into the cave already, and tell them, you got to back out. You got to come out now. And they didn't find out until after they came out why they needed them to come out. And it was like, oh my God, are you serious? Because there had been like miners that had went into that cave and
like
died.
Mary.
Yeah, and died, exactly, and died because of the chemical that was in that cave. And, you know, of course, they didn't find out later why it was, but that's why they had died, was because of what was in there. And that's when Ken said, you know, going into caves and then the natural gas. I don't know the geology of the area, but it wouldn't be out of context to say that maybe there was something naturally that occurred. And
The thing is with a cave though is it's like contained, right? But
but hot springs aren't contained.
I suppose, yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, that is why they took canaries into the coal mine, was that way when the CO2 was too high and the canary died, get your ass out. You better run. Drop the canary.
So Morelli says that hysteria is such a sexist term.
It really is.
I mean, the whole story was quite sexist if you look at it from like that perspective. And the idea about it being hysteria, that was quite often said, like at the time they would say, you know, oh, it was hysteria because if you look at the victims, they were nearly all women, you know, like, so, you know, because men wouldn't fall to hysteria. Do you know what I mean? Like it was.
Yeah, but the first victim that you gave was a man waking up in Neji,
Yeah, but there were
being like, "Hey,
right,
did
yeah,
you leave?
exactly.
Did you leave the oven on?"
Yeah. Get back in the kitchen and sort that out.
Right.
But yeah, no, the whole thing was kind of framed around this quite sort of like sexist ideal, I guess.
But wasn't the target, like, I know it was mostly women, but you're saying that, like, you know, most of the men work like night shift or were like away.
Yeah, because they're obviously World War II.
But that kind of
wasn't
leaves
it?
a bigger demographic. It's not like everyone was in a nuclear family back then. Like, yes, you know, my son will be home at 5, the roast will be ready by 6, and
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So Sharona's been doing some research for us. She says, okay, so apparently there were petroleum reserves discovered in 1940, which was only 4 years
Just
before.
outside. Yeah, that's right.
Near Martin, leading to extraction. And she says maybe they were releasing gases or something from that. And that wouldn't be out of context for it to take that long for something to like naturally start to release and occur. So that's an interesting side note. Thanks, Sharona.
thanks,
Yeah,
Sharona.
because I read that when I was about the expansion of the town, because obviously like you know, during World War II with the industrialization, and that town's
Oh,
like grew a lot in a short period. But how Mattoon didn't actually grow that much, despite having like a factory and yeah, this petroleum discovered just outside. It still didn't really boom like some other places did on the Gulf Coast or whatever. But
I was just gonna say, but even then, even like a minimal amount of building, or just whenever you start to disturb the earth and stuff like that, if there are natural gases or anything occurring underneath the surface and you start jacking up stuff,
yeah,
you start digging holes or laying foundations, or you've got a factory with a lot of heavy equipment that's moving, and so the earth is shaking underneath it.
you never know what you're going to dig up. Next thing you know, the thing's around.
Next thing you know, the space ape's going to walk through the hotel
That's
lobby.
maybe where he came from. Maybe. I've got a theory.
Oh, God.
Digging for petrol in 1940 and they dug up a space ape.
They dug up his
Definitely.
portal. Yes.
Definitely. I'm all on board with that one. So there you go. You wanted me to come up with to sort of get off the fence. I'm off the fence. That's where I am.
Okay,
They-
perfect. Well,
They dug up some either an interdimensional portal or a space ape.
Yeah.
and the other portal just
See?
happened to me in the lobby of the hotel.
Yeah.
He was wandering around trying to find the exit portal, and he was in the hotel lobby.
And that's how that lady got her psychic powers, because she was the fortune teller, because she'd been exposed to the special
Yes.
rays.
Yeah. Oh wow. This makes a lot of sense, guys.
Well, see, Morelli sparked the thought. Sharona did the research, and boom, we've got a theory on how to create a space ape.
Well, I'm glad we sorted that one out.
Yeah.
Madagascar Mattoon, space
The part
apes.
that's still like it's only been like 60, 70 years since then. But what trips me out is how friendly neighbors were at the time. Like so many times you're like, oh, they went to a neighbor to call the police, or they stayed at a neighbor's house for fear of being alone. I just try to apply it to like today's terms, and I don't think any of us would open our door at like 10:30 as our neighbor's knocking and being like, I smell gas, holding like their child. You just
Right?
get the police. Like,
I'd be like, get the fuck off my porch. What are you doing?
right?
No, now I have a question though. Okay, 1944 was not like that long ago. And even if you were born in like 20 years before that, and you were 20 years old when this whole thing happened, are you going to tell me that there's nobody alive in this day and age that lived in Mattoon during this time that could not be questioned?
No, there was, yeah. They just don't like talking about it, apparently.
The
Why
government.
not? Thank
Well,
you.
The government's going to get them. No,
I
most
mean, the
people-
government took Hallie offline and me. I'm just saying. They're everywhere.
Let me put it this way. I'm more afraid of the Church of Scientology than I am the government.
Well, everyone who wrote books, or any books that I read, that tried to contact someone in the town, said that the people in the town don't like it because they were mocked at the time, and they sort of are now has put them on the back foot when talking about it to outsiders. Like, I'm not sure if I really buy that so much as they would just couldn't be asked to get up and do the research. But
Considering the whole tone of the book that you said you read,
oh, that
I'm
was
not believing
rubbish.
it.
That book was awful. That author needed a slap.
Okay, I've never heard Ben's disdain for someone come through so clearly in an episode.
Actually, I think both episodes, your disdain came quite clear. When you were talking about the author, and then when you talked about
Oh
how
my
they released Joseph, and they're like, clearly, you're like, they gave him back his gun. And
Yeah.
it's not like.
I just couldn't believe they would do that.
Anyway, but we're getting ahead of it. So.
I know. But going back a little bit, Ken said that he could hear a difference in the audio of this last episode, and it sounded really good. So
Yes.
I just wanted to make note of that.
I'm glad.
So Ken noticed.
Yes.
I knew that would make Ben happy.
Yeah,
So,
no, I hated the guy. His theory was imbecilic and childish, and basically revolved around stigmatizing people with mental health problems.
As you do.
Well, and diagnosing people with mental health problems as well, because they were gay, in a community that, you know, gay people would have been seen
It
as.
was still illegal, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, it was true that I suppose in that time you would have been heavily stigmatized, but then he kind of he put a lot onto that, like because of this, he felt like this and he felt like that, and then he ended up getting these mental health problems and locking himself away and blowing everyone up and creating bombs in his back garden and poisoned everyone, and it was just like, okay, you've made all this up, like you've projected all of these feelings onto this guy.
That was the first gay agenda. I'm just letting you know right now. That was the.
But it was like, you know, he just projected all of this stuff onto this guy just based around the fact that he was gay. And in fact,
Yeah,
no one even knows if he was gay. That was supposition, or
Yeah.
even that was just guesswork. And I just wanted to bat his skull in, basically, because it was just like, you know, you call yourself an author, and our theory about the space ape being dug up was far more credible.
You should write a book about it, man.
Yeah, well, I reckon,
Yes,
to be honest,
it
we probably
was.
could self-publish, and it would probably fly in certain circles. Go on a few podcasts, tell everyone
Yeah,
that's
right.
what we believe.
Mhm.
Let's do it.
I listen to
I'll
enough
leave it on the books.
podcasts with that sort of nonsense.
Oh God, right?
Nick Redfern,
Cough. Yeah.
he's made his whole living out of it. David
Oh,
Icke.
completely.
I mean,
Oh my
jeez.
God, he's horrible. Anyway, yeah, I know.
But but yeah, every podcast they go on, they say, "Oh, if I'd have wanted to be rich, I wouldn't do this for a living." No,
Oh, wait,
well, you've done
really?
all right for yourself, ripping off people who are into the paranormal for the last 30 years, putting the whole subject into the gutter. You absolute cretin. But anyway,
Ben's feeling spunky.
Ah,
He's been hanging out with Americans for too long.
yeah, I've never seen so much passion.
oh yeah, just move on.
Well, that actually brought like color to your cheeks.
Yeah, I'm getting hot. Like,
Yeah, it's
Sarah says, "I for one welcome our new space ape overlords."
yeah. I would like see the problem I have with this episode is you know, the other week when we were talking about last live stream, we were talking, do I like romanticize the periods when I start doing the episodes, and I can't view this episode outside of a kind of grainy black and white 1950s sci-fi like TV show or film.
It's definitely lost in space. Yeah.
So Space Ape just it
It's
seems hard to
perfect.
get away from that at this point.
Yeah,
But
no,
in
totally.
reality, I don't think it was. I think it was Hysteria. Hysteria or Space
But-
Apes.
Yeah.
Definitely not the man who lived in his back garden.
No, but I don't know. I think was Lost in Space in color. Oh man, see, I'm just
Yeah, I
My-
think it was.
my memories are just in black and white. That's all. But I don't know. I think the whole like geology, natural occurring chemical. I think that's a pretty good,
I think
feasible
that could
theory.
be a thing.
I think it could be a thing.
I mean, I think it's got like just as much facet as all the other theories, especially when you consider that theory is applied to quite a lot of other things as well, isn't it? Like witch trials and things like that. You know, it's all like a kind of mutation of that a very similar theory, isn't it? So yeah, maybe. I didn't consider it, to be honest. I never gave it a thought. It's cool. Hearing Ben call someone a cretin is one of those things I didn't know I needed to hear until I heard it. Yeah. I mean, normally I try and behave myself with dark histories, but I mean, I can really soapbox it if I want to. Like,
He
you'd be
can.
bored after about 10 minutes.
Actually, it's kind of entertaining.
Tell my mum
Listening-
that, because she's usually on the receiving end. I'll phone her up and I'll be like, I've just read this book, right? Now I'm going to...
Oh, you know what? There you go. There's a bonus episode you could do.
What's that?
It's like just things you go off about when reading a book instead of just phoning your mom. Just record yourself
right.
like going off on a source that you're reading.
That's what we need to do. Just like a monthly topic, and then just let Ben soapbox.
Yes.
Definitely.
I
Definitely.
wants to hear that.
Morelli said that Space Ape should be a new Patreon level. It's great.
So we're an hour in, and we haven't even got to.
Oh my
Basho
god.
Yet. Should
I know.
we skip over? Are we done with Mattoon, or are we
Yeah,
all
I
happy
think
with
so.
Space Ape as a theory? That we have we solved that one?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Totally. Space Apes all the way.
Yeah.
Boom. Done.
I agree. I'm
So we're in
Solved.
tonight, huh? Yes. But we've actually probably the first one we've actually genuinely solved. And we have genuinely solved it. It was a space ape.
Yes.
We've solved so many, Ben. Come on. So many. I mean,
Hey,
you know.
Rin, tonight, huh?
It's
Good to
this
see you
kind
if
of
it's your
forward
first time.
thinking that helped Mr. Sarah solve the.
This deductive reasoning.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, like agencies around the world are just going to crowdsource dark histories to solve things.
Think they're onto something. That's space. Anyway.
Oh my god. Okay, so yeah.
I just want to say, actually, that this whole space ape thing is not making it easy for me to write next week's episode because I'm not going into it, but there's apes involved. So they're not space apes, but now in my mind, the whole time I'm researching this, they're going to be
They
space
will be.
apes.
They will totally be space apes.
I'll try and fit space apes in somewhere.
Oh my
Vache.
god.
Should we talk about Vache?
Yes.
Sure.
So that was an episode, wasn't it?
It
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
What did you think of it? Did you think it was grim? I tried to be nice about it. I'm going to get a glass of water. Hold on.
Okay.
Or don't hold on, because that's not,
When will you travel?
you guys go for it. I'll be back in a second.
To answer your question, Winter Night Hare, because they asked when will you tackle the creepy clowns in our American cornfields and front porches? Probably never. The only reason I say that, it's not that, creepy clowns isn't a creepy thing. It's just that after a few different episodes, we found that hitting anything after like World War II isn't necessarily a good idea for dark histories.
I don't
because
really
it's-
like it.
Yeah, it's just too recent, and things. A lot of people listen to podcasts, and when you hit something that's too recent, depending on what it is, there's always the possibility of it ending up in the ears of someone involved in
And
the
it did.
case.
And they contacted me, and they
Yeah.
were very polite, and they were
They
very,
were.
they appreciated that I did the episode, and they said that they were very nice to me about it. But I still found it difficult to handle that.
Yeah.
I
It was
I
just-
I don't
So
want to deal with that.
Yeah, so we decided
Plus, I really
pre-World
like
War
history
II.
stuff. I really like history stuff. Like it, so it was kind of, to be honest, I think Dark Issues was going that way by then anyway, because they contacted me
was, but-
way after the episode had come out, and Dark Issues was kind of finding its niche in that kind of Victorian, Edwardian kind of
And you know what? To be
early
honest with you,
early 20th century period anyway. So
yeah, it's kind of like I made a comment on Discord. Is there's so much stuff like before the recent stuff that's like weird and odd and strange to choose from that there's. I mean, we don't have to go recent history because there's so much way back there that you can choose from.
One of the things interesting about the content for Dark Histories is comparing like modern like scientific studies and process and like trial and law and order, and then thinking about what they did back then. Like in this case, for
Yeah.
example, like with Vache, where they're like police didn't communicate, but you have nowadays like Amber Alert, like the minute it happens, everyone gets a text about it. And it's like this
Yeah.
case be like, nah, they're 20 miles that way. We don't have to talk to them. That's fine. That's their jurisdiction. They in their own backyard. They can deal with this crazy white-haired hat rabbit killing guy. Like,
that was mad, wasn't it? How the fractured like how because they were just up the road a little bit. It was completely fractured.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
So
Ken said he appreciated the pre-warning at the beginning of the episode.
I generally
Glad you
don't
liked
tend to
it
do
because he
that.
won't do it anymore.
I
It's a
generally don't
rarity.
yeah, no, I don't tend to do it because I think, well, it's dark histories. We all know what we're getting into, but with this one, I just thought, I don't know, it is a bit. Maybe it does warrant it. This one.
Well, there was a lot to it, and I mean, it wasn't like it was just one or two people that he killed, and he
Well-
didn't just kill them. You know, he
there was also
Yeah.
like a lot of hot button issues. This wasn't just murder. Like there was sorry to be crude with my next words, but like there was rape, there was
Necrophilia.
harassment, necrophilia, there was children, he killed animals. Like
I don't think you get
everyone
a
on the
lot
spectrum, I
worse.
think we're
Yeah, I don't think you get a lot worse than anally raping a dead body, do you? I mean, and he did that quite a bit. That was part of his MO, really. So yeah, I thought
Yeah,
it deserved
the
a
nec-
bit of a warning.
the necrophilia, and then it's like, so you got to kill the magpie just because the dog didn't want the stew.
yeah, like I said, there was a lot of like
I'm sorry, I had to kind of like lighten it up.
No, but that I thought the same thing when I read that. It's one of the first.
I
I was
do.
like, yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, yeah, what did the magpie do? The dog didn't want the stew. I mean, I don't think you should have killed either of them, but you could have killed the dog and not the magpie.
I know. I'm like, come on, man. And you know what? And I got to say, who knows what was really in that stew?
Well, yeah. Sarah says Fouquet and Lasagne were amazing. They were amazing. Fouquet and Lasagne were so cool.
Keep calling him lasagna. I'm sorry. It just, you can't look at that word and not think lasagna.
No, it's true. Yeah, Lasagne. I mean, it's even like the same thing, but just with an asa in the beginning.
Yeah, just take out
Just
like
add
the
a little bit.
C.
Yeah. But no, they were amazing. That's what I like about doing the Dark Histories when it's slightly older is you get the stories of all these people who were really like, you know, thinking outside the box and kind of pushing the fold of what was being done at the time. And although now like it's quite basic to like profile a serial killer or whatever, like back then people just didn't even think to even do that. You know, that it was. I mean, in Italy they were still teaching that if they had big brows, that was probably why. Like, you know, because they were born to be killers or whatever. So at the same time as you've got that line of thought, you've got someone sitting in an office going, maybe I should psychologically profile this guy. I mean, that's pretty out there. So yeah, no, I thought they were amazing. I actually liked Fouquet more than Lasagne as well. Although Lasagne came up with a lot of amazing kind of practical things, I really liked Fouquet, his kind of
yeah.
psychological approach to it.
Well, he did his homework. I mean, he like got into it. You know, he's the one that I correct me if I'm wrong, but he's the one that like asked everybody for all their paperwork and everything, right? And got it all together and
he
like
kind of got him caught, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, without him doing all of that, I don't know if he would have been caught because everybody was so easy to just, you know, lock him away for 30 days and then hand him back his knife and his, you know, and it's like somebody takes like a bloody knife to the police and they're like, oh, we don't need that. It's okay.
Yeah, that was awful, wasn't it?
I'm like, oh my God.
But yeah, no, I mean, it was Fouquet who basically went, you know, maybe we should all talk to each other about this. Like,
You know,
maybe that's a good idea. So, you know, I thought they were amazing. And this is the book that I was saying about that I recommended everyone read. It's really good, but it's not really about Vacher so much. I mean, obviously it is about Vacher, but I would say this book is like 80%. The facts and details are about Lasagne.
That's a grim
So-
title.
The Killer of Little Shepherds, yeah.
That's a grim title.
Yeah. But it's mostly about Lasagne more than Vacher. And actually, it doesn't really sort of go into Vacher's sort of murder spree too much. But it doesn't really go into Fouquet either. And Fouquet, I thought, was kind of more important in the role of capturing him. Like you say, like if it wasn't for Fouquet, I think he probably wouldn't have been caught at all. So yeah, that was cool. But yeah, where should we start with this one? Because we haven't. I mean,
Ooh.
what do you want? What have we got questions or anything like that about this?
I had one question while listening.
Yeah, go on.
So he had his service papers.
Yeah.
I don't know
yeah.
how they worked back then, but you did mention that like one of the like farms he stayed in, they found out his name, and he kept
told
showing
most
his.
people his name.
Yeah.
He just told them straight up.
Right. So does his service papers not reflect that?
Well, no,
So
but
I'm wondering why the
apparently
police didn't coordinate those two. Like, oh, he said his name was Joseph Vache. Okay, and then can I see your service papers? Oh, okay. Thanks for your service, Mr.
Oh,
Vache.
yeah.
Have a good day. Like,
Yeah.
do they not include his name? I don't understand how that was like blatantly
yeah,
not added together.
No, I think you're right. I think that it only just goes to highlight just how fractured it was and how little they knew of like what was going on next door. Because, like I say, he had no bones of telling people his name. Like he never when he first hit the road, he used someone else's name for a while that he's suspected of killing. I'm pretty sure he killed him. Like because he used his ID for a bit. But I think he just got bored of it and realised he didn't need it because he started just telling people like he told loads of people his name.
Yeah, his service papers were like a golden ticket. It was bizarre. It's like, oh, you killed someone. Can I see your thing? Oh, but here's my service papers. Oh, great. Okay, never mind. It must not have been you.
Yeah,
must have been the guy with the solid alibi.
Yeah.
Right?
And I like the fact he's walking down the road with a massive club and scars all over his face and kind of there's a hat pulled down over his face. And they say, have you seen anyone suspicious? And he goes, here's my papers. And they go, oh, it can't have been you. So have you seen anyone? Yep, just down that way. About 4 miles down that road.
Right, and this blood is from a nosebleed.
Yeah. Oh, that was, that was incredible.
It's dry. This dry air, this dry French air, it's just causing my nose to bleed profusely.
I mean, the only thing I can think there is that farmer didn't believe him, but just wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he was trying to cover like put dirt into a puddle of blood, and it's just a nosebleed, mate. Don't worry about it. Like, no one's believing that. That was pretty incredible. It seems that communication between towns was practically non-existent. Yeah, exactly. I think it can only be that. Like there was that. I mean, they put him in prison that time for a month, and at no point did they put 2 and 2 together that he was wanted for murder in a town 10 miles down the road. Incredible. I mean, it boggles the mind, really, isn't it? But I mean, isn't it incredible how much he travelled? Like just how far he walked. Like thousands of miles.
I still can't get that song in my head.
You still think that what? Sorry.
The song.
Though someone I don't know whose credit it is. I'm sorry, on Discord where they did the Proclaimers 500 miles.
Wasn't it like?
To be the man that showed up at your door to shoot you in the face.
I want to say it was Gamelin. I'm not really sure.
Well, okay, so I mean that was mad, wasn't it? I mean, to sort of, I mean, we're all over the place here, but yeah, to start at the start, like that was mad. So his falling in love with Louise, pretty out there, and then sort of obsessing over her so much that he shoots her and himself in the face badly. I mean. The whole thing,
wrong.
From start to finish, you just got to think like that. This guy, I mean, he was insane, wasn't he? Like, and when he was 14 years old when he broke a bunch of cows' legs because he was bored to pass the time in the field.
I mean,
and there are murders at that point that some people have suggested could have been him at the age of 12 years old. Because when he was 12, there was a 10-year-old boy killed in a barn with their trousers pulled down. Mm-hmm. Like they didn't test for like rape or anything, but he had his trousers pulled down, which is as far as they knew. So there was like a sexualized element to this crime. And obviously they didn't catch who it was. But later, like a lot of years later, people have suggested that maybe it was Vache when he was like 12.
Possible.
I wouldn't put it past him if he was breaking cows' legs a couple of years later.
I thought it was cat's legs.
Cows. He took a field
Cows.
of cow.
Cows,
Oh,
like,
okay.
Cows.
yeah. Which that's, I mean, you know, cows aren't small.
No. Yeah, cow tip and then break.
I mean,
It-
it's just crazy. I want to know what Sarah is, if Sarah's still on. I want to know what her thought on his psychological, like, I think nowadays he would have inspired. Yeah, I want to know what her thought on his psychology is.
So Ben, you had
Hmm.
mentioned that people thought that because of the death of his twin, that this was like the start of it and not just the rabies. And I was thinking, because you said that was far fetched, and the only thing that made me think of it is like, I find this hard to believe, but what if his mother like constantly like threw that in his face, like
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't
when
know.
his problems happened, like, you know, if your sister were alive, she wouldn't have done this, and she was the better twin, like just constantly like psychologically like forcing that on the kid, and
Yeah.
then he's just like, well, if I'm the bastard child, then let's go break cow legs. Like, what?
Annoyingly, the only place I read that was a French journal, but it was like an academic journal, and someone had written about it, but like my translation was not good, so it was quite basic. It was like I just pulled out the basics of the theory. Really, I wouldn't say I got the nuances of it. So I don't really know what they were getting at, but they were saying that, yeah, that basically because he had this twin that had died at 8 months of age, that could have kind of that traumatized him throughout his childhood. But I mean, I don't know really. I thought it was a bit out there for a theory, but I mean, I suppose it's as good as anything else if you're looking for a reason that might have broken him as a young child, I suppose. I mean, other than being the 15th of 15 children, I mean, that's probably quite hard in itself.
Whew.
So,
It's like the Duggars.
Well, yeah, God damn it. Brianna had asked, you know, besides the savagery of his murders, he apparently never successfully raped a live person. I just wonder if it was something in his psychology that he couldn't
I know he definitely tried.
get himself, but he couldn't get himself to that point to finish with a live person because some just can't,
Oh,
and
I
that's
don't
part of their
know.
and that's part of their
Yeah.
psychosis is, you know, you'll find that a lot of the people who cross over into necrophilia, they can't get themselves to that point with a live person, with someone who's still alive. That's not what flips their switch.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was that or if it was just like a kind of sexual frenzy or whatever. I don't know,
No.
but it was pretty messed up. The twin died, Ken, by choking on a bit of bread. Although there's actually debated. I read the most reliable source that I read said that she choked on a piece of bread. But a couple of other sources that I didn't really give as much credibility to said that it was like smothered under a blanket. The mum had put it down onto a blanket and walked away and left it basically, and it had kind of smothered itself and suffocated. But those sources to me weren't as credible as the one that said that she'd died choking on a piece of bread. So I went with choking on a piece of bread because it was, for me, it was just the most reliable source. I couldn't actually find any like death certificate or anything like that. So I only had like secondhand sources to go by. So then all I could really do really was just pick which one I thought was more credible, and it was that one, and that was because it was French and written. It had a lot of original records. So I thought they'd probably have seen the original records because they've got a lot of other original records, which I couldn't find anywhere else either. Yeah. So yeah. Either way, it was like suffocation. Either it depended on which way you want to look at it. She either died in bed or choked on a bit of bread. Brianna says that. Oh, that's what you were saying. He
Yeah.
never successfully raped a live person. Yeah, he never. Well, as far as we're aware, he didn't really rape a live person. But then is that also to do with the fact that if he got their hands on them, it's kind of like you were saying, I suppose, Hallie, like they wouldn't have been alive at the end of it if he'd have managed to rape them, because he was
Right.
the ones that got away, I guess. So he didn't have the chance
Yeah.
to kill them.
Yeah, Sarah was saying the same thing, though. She was saying that definitely psychotic and probably combined with narcissism and possibly borderline personality disorder. And the obsessive compulsive, just because of like the letters that he wrote to Louise over and over and over and over again. And
I just want to say I thought
let
that
that
was
go. No, it wasn't sweet.
When's the last time anyone has given you a love letter and he sent like thousands? I'm just saying that's
Yeah.
sweet.
I mean, that's some price to pay for a few love letters, though, isn't it? Like,
Shot to the face.
yeah.
Hey, when true love comes knocking, be like Ben and don't answer the door. No rocks.
But Sarah agreed with the necrophilia part, that he might just not, that might have just not been a psychological makeup. He just couldn't get there with somebody who's still alive.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's happened more times than we probably like to admit.
Morelli says, too bad he couldn't stay in the nice asylum where he seemed peaceful. Yeah, he seemed like to enjoy that place.
He
in a way,
did.
didn't he?
Yeah, totally.
I couldn't work out, because I read a few of his letters that he wrote when he was in there, and I couldn't work out if he genuinely enjoyed it, or if he was making the best out of a bad situation. Like if he would have preferred to be free, but as a kind of place to be locked up for a few months or whatever, he liked it. The only thing that sort of swayed me one way or the other is that he did seem to be planning to get out, and he did seem to be working on getting out as well, which again kind of goes towards that whole like calculated, like, because obviously he had the insanity plea, but he calculated his way out of that, even the nice asylum. Like he basically sucked up to the guy who ran it, the manager of the asylum. He was like, he would write letters to him and talk about how wonderful the asylum was and how it was really helping his state of mind and helping him to accept what his crimes and all the rest of it. So he was trying to get out right from the start. So I think he enjoyed it. I think he did like it, but I think he wanted out, and I think he was like working on getting out as well. Are we getting into like dark necrophilic humor in the chat here?
Keep going. You're okay.
Minefields. I'm just staying away from that.
That's why I'm like, just keep going.
But yeah, no, so I couldn't work out if he actually wanted to stay there or not, but he seemed to enjoy it, didn't he? Because I mean, when he wrote to Louise about it and was like, oh, it's he said there was more beautiful gardens than anywhere in Grenoble, or as beautiful as all the gardens in Grenoble or something. And it was like, well, do you like it there then? Or are you just trying to make the best of a bad situation? Because he seemed to want to be trying to get out, and working quite actively to get himself out.
I don't know. He was really good at escaping.
Yeah. Well, it seemed that they were really bad at keeping people in.
I just need to go pee. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Off the side of the train.
Jumped out of the
with handcuffs on.
Insane. Yeah, no, he was pretty desperate to get away, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, they weren't real good at, like you said, at keeping him.
Yeah, but I like the fact that when he did actually escape, this baffled me a little bit. When he did actually escape the asylum, they caught him 2 weeks later in the same vicinity, so he didn't really walk very far. So did he really want to escape, or was he just trying to get, stretch his legs a little bit? Like, did he always expect to be caught and put back in or something? Because he, later in his life, he obviously became quite adept at killing people and then moving a bit. So why did he not just walk to the next town instead of sleeping in barns around the asylum until he got caught in 2 weeks? Baffled me.
It's exhausting walking from town to town and jumping off trains and trying to figure out how to.
Well, I suppose when he escaped as well, he was wearing like a uniform of the asylum. It was like a grey cotton uniform that they had to wear. So
yeah, I mean, he had to find somebody to kill to get clothes.
Yeah, I suppose he kind of had initial problems, didn't he?
Well, because if you're gonna walk to another town, you know, in your asylum outfit,
With the hair dryer.
Ben, being who he would say hi to you and take you in for the night.
yeah, Ben, be like, do you need a fresh jumper? Do you need?
Well, I mean, talking about taking him in though, how much anxiety did it give you when you were reading the story about him, like teaching that girl penmanship and staying with that family for a week?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh my god!
My
And he was like
Christ.
playing with a little boy or something. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, good
So
lord.
especially took to the young boy or whatever who he would. What was I think the quote was like he especially took to the young boy who he would often ask to come and sit by his side or something. And you were just like,
Yeah, or he'd like get on the ground and play with them. I was like,
I
oh, no.
I was like, oh god, please don't.
But it's incredible how he showed restraint at that point. Again, I suppose, that's another sort of piece of evidence that proves that Asesanya was correct in his assumption that he was calculated and, you know, like, because
Or
if he was genuinely insane, why did he not kill those people?
Or it could have touched back onto what Hallie said, that he couldn't like do the deed because the boy was alive. But maybe, I'm sorry, warning, trigger warning, but maybe like the pedo symptoms were already there. Like he thought he could groom this kid, and then he's like, wow, when they're alive and struggling, this is way more difficult.
And he might,
Like-
you know, and he might just not have had the opportunity to have him by himself in order
Yeah,
to kill him. I mean,
yeah. I mean, the book that I read this in said that it was, or he ascribed it, or he didn't actually sort of explicitly state it, but he alluded to the idea that because it was so soon after Lourdes, like perhaps Lourdes had like a calming effect on him and sort of made him sort of relax and stop killing people for a bit. I'm not sure I really believe that, because the whole time he had this kind of religious bent to what he was doing anyway, and believed that he was blessed anyway. So why would Lourdes chill him out? I don't think, if anything, it would make him just feel more sort of
I think the religious
solid in his
part,
convictions.
that whole God theory thingamabobber is part of his psychosis.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I think that was probably down to like auditory hallucinations, wasn't it? And he just ascribed it to God.
Well, I asked Sarah about that because I kind of wondered if it was part of like a borderline personality disorder or a multiple personality thing, or if it was just something he kind of made up as an excuse. And she said that she thinks that he did hear voices, but he probably also used them as an excuse too.
Yeah. I definitely think he definitely had like auditory hallucination, but I think he knew that how well that would play. Like if he
Oh yeah.
sort of play, I think he played it right up. Sarah saying about the shoe thing, taking the girl's shoes and cutting them up to make them fit. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he totally cuts them into little pieces in front of that guy to get rid of them, and it's like, oh my god.
But it's stuff like that then makes you kind of think, well, he must have been like an absolute sociopath to have done that, to have killed someone, and then thought, rather than think like any sort of emotional baggage, think, oh, I tell you what, those shoes will come in handy. like surely there's an element of sociopathy there. That's that detachment from the emotional, and just seeing it as a practical thing. Like, oh, those shoes, like, you know, I could use them. If I cut the toes off, they'll fit. Like that anyone else surely would. I don't know.
Well, because he also got rid of like a girl's ring, right? He got rid of earrings and a ring because he thought it'd be tied back to him.
Yeah, he stole them and then later threw them away. But the only reason he threw them away because he thought he could get, if he got caught with them, it would like land him in hot water.
So maybe those are just crimes of opportunity, and he really needed shoes.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he was wearing those wooden shoes. They didn't sound very comfortable.
And then that's how Crocs became a thing. Anyway.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I was trying to lighten the mood.
I hate those things.
Okay, so Ken's come up with
Oh Jesus.
group question. If there was such lax laws where you live, would you be tempted to commit a crime in the next town over? And what crime do you commit? Hallie?
it would have to depend on what's in the town, like what's available. I mean, I don't think I'd kill someone, but depends on what's
I'd
there
rob
for the taking.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rob a jewelry store or something. Like get myself a nice pearl necklace.
But that's all
Wait.
traceable.
I shouldn't have said that, should I?
Oh,
Not
God.
really.
I got some other nice diamond necklace. There you go. That's better.
There you go.
Yeah, like get myself. But I don't think I'd murder someone.
So you
Panda?
wouldn't like partake in the purge? I'm gonna exercise my Fifth Amendment right to not self-incriminate.
Chat. Anyone in chat? Would,
In case this video comes back to haunt me, like 10 years
hang
down
on,
the
let's put
road.
this on Ken. Ken, what would you do then?
Black laws are not being impossible in certain areas because of all the cameras. This is true. You've got a lot of cameras where you are.
Yeah, that's creepy. But anyway.
We'll let's flip it on Ken. What would Ken do?
I don't know.
I wouldn't murder anyone. I don't think I'd be able to. Excuse me, can you come here and let me kill you? No? Okay.
Can you just fall in the general direction of this pointed thing? Thank you.
Yeah. Don't worry if you're not that fussed about it. If you don't want to, don't have to.
I feel like you'd be squeamish with all the blood, Ben.
Yeah, I don't think Ben could do anything like real serious.
Yeah, maybe. I used to bunk off school when we had biology lessons and we had to dissect a frog. I bunked off both the days. Bunked off, I don't know if that's a word in America. I skipped school.
No, I knew what you meant.
I figured. I didn't think you had anything to do with bunk beds or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't want to cut up the frog, so I just skipped out.
I feel like you'd be worried about your hair getting a lot of blood in it.
I'm not that much of a tart.
I'm just saying.
The frog was already dead, Ben.
Yeah, but I just didn't want to cut it up. I thought it was gross.
So Bren would be a poisoner.
Yeah. Yeah, I could do that. As long as they don't be sick near me, I'll be fine.
Yeah. Ben's just not the criminal type.
Yeah, but that's fortunate, I guess.
Ken said he'd wear his Crocs to the bank and rob them. That needs to be a ringtone,
I
Sharona.
put on my Lord Humongous cosplay gear and start a gang.
I think I'm not that much of a tart needs to be like a ringtone or a message. Like
I like the fact that I'm not that much of it, but I am a tart. Yeah.
Sorry, I pushed it over too far. I'm sorry.
So yeah, I mean, Vache was mad, wasn't he? But I mean, that's kind of.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to sort of debate the whole kind of should he have been tried in court as sane or not, or do we want to just sort of go no? Serves him right.
I think the guillotine was spot on.
Yeah, me too. I have to say, I'm not a proponent of
I mean, who?
capital punishment, but in this case, I think what else are
Yeah.
you going to do with him?
Well, and I think the way the courts were working, I mean, God knows he probably would have been let out again.
It seemed that
You
way,
know,
didn't it? That's the thing. That
yeah.
was the problem for me. It's like if they'd have put him in an asylum, they would have just let him out a few months later.
Yeah, and
And
given
he
him
was
back
only
his,
going to go and have killed more people if they'd have done that.
and they just give him back his knife and his
It's good.
You know,
exactly.
his gun
They would have
and-
aided him along the way by giving him his
Yeah.
clubs back and gone, there you go. There's your knife and clubs.
No, totally.
Don't kill anyone with these, all right?
Yeah.
Like, it's idiots.
I
But-
do. I think that they probably would have just let him out. Did you say in that episode that he modeled himself after Jack the Ripper? Ken wants to know. I don't
I don't
think
he did like so okay, so I didn't get into it too much in the episodes. If you don't like gore and stuff, you might want to close your ears for a minute. But he would eviscerate them from their sternum to their pubis. So basically just their entire stomach he would like just cut open and just pull out all their guts.
All the soft bits.
Yeah. And that was like kind of something that he did quite often. He didn't do it to everyone,
Mhm.
but I would say he did it at least 75% of his victims had that. And then he did sort of a few extra bits and bobs here and there every now and then, like biting a woman's face, chewed on her face, like all over it. He stamped all over one of the carcasses. It's like caved in their chest and everything. Did a lot of horrible bad stuff. I don't necessarily think it was that much modelled on Jack the Ripper. I mean, there was the eviscerations, which were quite similar, I guess, to some of the Ripper murders, but I don't know if he like modelled himself on it or that's just a convenient thing to chop up on a person because it's soft. I suppose if you
Probably.
So then he actually, if he's eviscerating all these bodies, he walked around not only grubby and grimy, but like super bloody as well.
you'd assume, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And-
I mean,
Well, no,
Well,
then the
actually-
family is like taking him in. They were just like, "Oh, you're covered in blood and mud. Please,
Well-
please come in and teach my son to read."
I mean,
Well,
Okay,
so this
but-
is something that Lasasanya actually figured out. And he figured out that he always strangled them first because there was never blood stains all over him or on the walls, and it would always seep into the floor. So he would strangle them and then kill them on the floor, so the blood would go sort of directly into the floor instead of splashing all over him.
well, that and if they're dead already, the heart's not pumping anymore, so you're not
Right.
having like the arterial squirts and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I get that, but I mean, removing organs from a body,
But-
it's not like that's a bloodless act. John,
Right.
He's
oh,
going to get it
20
all over
feet
his
of
hands and
intestines.
arms, you would think.
Right,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
And then what's
And this
people's
is-
natural reaction to like wipe on themselves or whatever? I'm
No.
sure they have like moist towelettes for such a
Right.
He just
hand
told people he had a
sanitizer.
nosebleed.
Yeah, right?
no,
It's really
But-
bad.
Just
But I
absolutely
also-
covered.
Oh,
I was having a nosebleed.
Like,
Don't
you
worry
guys are
about it, mate.
I also wonder though, I mean, you have to remember there was a little bit of necrophilia afterwards, so I wonder if he wasn't just without clothing when he did all of that.
He had like changes of clothing with him and that, and there were a few times where he actually had written about it and said that he'd like washed in a river and things like that and changed
Right.
his clothing.
But it
But-
wouldn't
but-
be that far out of line to think he was just naked when he decided to start eviscerating things.
Yeah, I mean it was remarkable. Like I did think it was like how he seemed to be remarkably clean for what he was doing. Like like you say, like it's not
Or-
a clean thing, is it? Like he's gonna, in the very least, you would think he would get blood up to his elbows, like, but he didn't seem to really make, or no one seemed to really comment too
Or-
much on seeing a man covered in blood.
Or the body was like way expired to the point that the blood was already like pooled to the base of the body, like on the back.
What you mean, like, so enough of it had drained into the floor that when he was doing it, there wasn't that much blood to go around it?
No, like lividity that they could tell for how long, like when somebody died, like your blood starts to pool like in certain
Yeah.
areas.
Yeah.
So like, I'm just saying, like maybe it was that long that the blood had already like pooled to like.
Yeah, it had a few
Or when-
times because a few of the autopsy reports that
That's
'Cause
a
again, that
long
was
time with
something
dead
that-
body.
Lasasanya came up with was lividity and stuff like that, and blood pooling in certain areas. But yeah, so that's how they come up with his MO of strangling them first, was that blood would have pooled into the backs of them and then seeped into the floor rather than splattered everywhere. But yeah, I don't know. It was pretty gross. I didn't really go too much into the details in the episode because I just thought I don't want to be gratuitous or whatever, so I just kind of said it was eviscerated and left it at that. But no, he did some pretty horrendous things. So that was the original question, was about Ripper, wasn't it? I don't necessarily think he kind of modelled himself on Jack the Ripper. I just think it was just I don't know. I just think if you're going to chop up someone, they're the bits you do, isn't it? That's the soft bits, the bits that come out. That's the interesting bits.
Yeah,
It's supposed
he wasn't like rearranging the skeletal frame.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
in terms of like trying him, because that's what we were kind of talking about, wasn't it? I think
Mhm.
probably it was the right outcome, right? It's like,
Oh yeah.
but I
so.
do think, and I do agree anyway that he was calculating it all. Like, it was, he knew what he was doing. He was trying to get away with it by claiming that he was insane, right? I do think he was mad, and I do think he was unbalanced, but I think like Lester wasn't necessarily incorrect by saying that he's calculating and he knows exactly what he's doing.
Mm-mm. I don't think so either.
So you
I
don't think
he
he
was
should have
spot
been
on?
institutionalized forever?
I think he could have, yeah, but I don't think they would have done it forever. I think they would have institutionalized him for a few weeks and gone, nah, he's all right.
Yeah.
He wrote me this nice letter telling me how wonderful we are and how we're doing a good job. So I think, and he did say that he regrets his crimes now, so we'll let him go.
Yeah, remorse
I
and all that
I think
stuff.
that's probably what would have happened if he had done that.
So you don't believe in reform?
No,
Not in his
not
case.
not with someone who's a psychotic the way he is.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no,
I'm just trying to do the opposite because we always all tend to agree. So
Yeah.
I'm really already struggling.
Well, see, normally as well, I would probably be on the fence, but in this case,
Yeah,
I
I
really
know.
am not. Like, it's. I really think he was well past any help, like in that terms, because, oh yeah, no,
So did he kill the rabbit and make his own hat?
yeah, he made his own
Okay.
white fur hat, which is pretty boss hat actually. If
That's
anyone
what I
hasn't-
kind of thought. I wasn't sure, but I figured I'd ask.
Yeah, no, he.
Is it going to be available in our merch store? Right.
Absolutely.
So this is the picture of him that he took in jail, which I mentioned in the episode where he was holding the
Oh, with the
keys.
keys?
You gotta,
Yeah.
you gotta put it in the camera, like
Yeah,
down. There we go.
I don't know if I've got I could just screen share,
Oh,
can't I?
Jesus Christ! Yeah.
What am I doing this for?
Oh, because you're precious.
It's a cool picture, but so I can't remember how to. Here we go.
Was there?
Oh wait,
Oh, Panda froze.
iOS has been a douche because I just updated it. It wants me to go to my
Oh.
sharing options and stuff and give permission
Yeah,
to.
whatever.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'll do that later. So I make sure I do it for next stream. But yeah, that's the picture of him anyway, with his white hat. That's his rabbit hat, and that's the keys that he borrowed off a guard to symbolize
The
heaven.
keys to heaven.
Yeah, the keys to heaven, which is where he was apparently going with his white hat that symbolized purity. Absolutely
So-
mad.
Yeah. I had a question about that, but I won't go there again.
Why?
Can't handle smell, smell, yeah. I don't know. Like, did he think he was still pure because they weren't alive?
Sorry, I was reading that thing about Seinfeld.
Yeah, I know. Did he think he was still pure because they weren't alive?
I have no idea where he got off on the idea that he was pure in any way, shape, or form.
That's kind of well, and that was kind of where I was wondering. I'm like, how did he come up with the whole,
I
pure so
don't
he
even
could
know
wear
how
a
he
white
justified-
rabbit hat thing?
Yeah, no, I have no idea how he justified it to himself at all.
I don't know.
He didn't really seem to explain it other than the fact that, well, he just was. Like, even in his letters, or the letters that I read of his, it was almost just taken as fact that he was pure. Like, he didn't feel the need to justify it. Absolutely bizarre.
A little strange.
Yeah, madness. So that was Vache anyway.
Just pure madness.
Yeah, pretty much. But
Yeah.
good episode, I thought. I was.
Oh,
it was
no,
a bit,
it was
it's a bit
great.
grimy. But I thought it'd been a while
No.
since we'd done one that was really in the gutter,
Yeah, it has.
So that was okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all right. Did we have any questions or anything like that for the live stream on Discord? Like on
Oh,
the live stream.
yeah, yeah,
questions?
I know
I
what
forgot
you're
to
saying.
check.
I've got it right here. Hold on. Blah 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 blah. No, we've addressed them all.
Oh, cool. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Any questions or anything about anything? Because I mean, I think that's pretty much that episode, isn't it? Really? I mean, everyone agrees, right? Does everyone in
Yeah.
chat agree that he was just an absolute nutcase and they should have just chopped his head off and all lived happily ever after when they did?
Yeah, pretty much.
I think so.
It's a secret, Ken.
What's that?
He said, "What's the next episode about?" And I'm like, "Nope."
Oh,
you can't tell." Benjamin.
I if I told you the title, you would think
No.
I was taking the piss. So I'm gonna just say no.
Thank you.
Plus, I don't know actually. In all honesty,
See,
the
the-
one that I'm working on is
Here's the
something,
thing.
but
Here's
I
the
might
thing
change
with
my
Ben.
mind.
It's like right now, it's only Saturday. right? And he's still basically got like a whole full week to go before a new episode, so he could change his mind like next Thursday.
Well, I work on like 2 or 3 at once, so sometimes I get quite near the end of doing one episode and then just think, no, I'm not feeling this at the moment. Doesn't feel right, and I'll just flip to another one. So I don't keep it a secret because I want to keep it a secret. I just keep it a secret because I don't want anyone to be disappointed when it's a different episode. Other than I've sort of publicised. So yeah, I just keep it a secret for that reason. But yeah, no, if I told you the title of the one that I was working on, you'd think I was taking the piss. Seriously. it's quite an episode.
Yeah, it could involve apes, yes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a departure actually, but it's not, but it is. But I think it will make a nice change of topic. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on. It's all good.
Does anyone else have any questions before we hit the road?
Oh God.
Because we're nearly at 2 hours. I mean, I don't mind, but I don't think people want to be here much longer.
We're good. It's okay. We're good. No, we're fine. We're good. Yeah. But on a last note,
Matt said, "Can you find pictures of Severed Head?"
Yeah.
Yes, you can. I think I might even have one in this book. If not,
Mr. Sarah said you can find pictures of.
Oh, Matt said you can find, not can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely find pictures of his severed head.
Yeah, totally.
There's one right there. And you can find one of his severed head that's a plaster cast if you're a bit squeamish. If you don't want to find pictures of the actual head. They're not gory pictures though.
Oh, that's cool. Sorry, I was looking at his head.
Yeah, they're not really gory pictures, are they? They're like kind of cleaned up.
Just his head.
Yeah,
it's
not
literally like just a picture of his head, and you wouldn't know that it was like severed from his body.
Yeah, it's not like on the floor in front of the guillotine. Like
no, that would be cool,
like
but it's not.
Yeah, Louise. Yeah, she's not.
Poor Louise. Man, talk about a woman with PTSD.
I thought she didn't seem to suffer any sort of harsh scarring or anything like that, at least from the bullet wounds. I mean, she said that she had some scarring, but I didn't think they were that. I didn't think you could really see them, which I suppose is a good thing.
Yeah.
After being shot in the face by a nutcase.
But you know what? Good on Louise's dad.
What, for hiding the letters or whatever? Just
for like just protecting his daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, honest to God, just for doing the right thing and saying, "No, honey, he hasn't written in a while."
Yeah, don't worry about it. You don't need to see that. Yeah, you don't need to know anything about it. Yeah.
Yeah, just ignore the big bonfire. It's no. Good on her dad. I was proud of him. But I mean, geez, how can you keep track of 15 kids?
What, you reckon that's why he turned into a mad necrophilic rapist murderer? Because
I'm just
they had
saying,
too many children and they couldn't keep track of them.
I'm just saying it's hard to keep track of one, much less 15.
Yeah, it was mad, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's Dark Histories for January or February. Yeah.
Here's to 4 years on a leap year.
It's today, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, because and this is my little weird synchronicity type thing. We're reviewing season 4, episode 4 on a leap year, which happens every 4 years.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
What does it all mean? Is this got anything to do with space apes?
Sharona said that she liked the video.
Oh,
on
cool!
Patreon.
Thanks, Sharona. Yeah, I
it
wasn't
was
really
fun.
sure about that.
I think it's fun.
Yeah, I because I use this camera now. I have it like set up forever now because I figured, well, I may as well just like wire it into my setup properly, so it's kind of there. And then I just thought I could do like a record it. I don't know if it'll be everyone's cup of tea, but I'm glad, if one person like she's shown us that she thought it was cool, then I just keep doing them because they say they're no skin off my neck, off my nose. And I quite like doing the kind of behind the scenes little extra
Yeah.
commentary as well. Although I
Sarah
think
liked it
probably
too.
after 1 or 2 episodes, you might get bored of listening to me
No, it's
make
funny.
mistakes.
No, it's always fun to watch someone else make mistakes. No, it was good.
Although
Yeah, I like
I kind of got through that episode without too many mistakes, so I thought,
No, you did good.
yeah.
You always do fine. It's space apes for life. Oh my god. But no, honestly, I think that, and they can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that the listeners really enjoy seeing that kind of, behind the scenes natural. This is what
I hope so.
it's kind of like that, Instagram versus reality type thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing that, because one idea that I've always had is because I remember a long time ago someone asked me how I make an episode, and I think they were asking from a perspective of that they were thinking about starting a podcast, weren't they? And they wondered just the basics of how to make a podcast. So I've always sort of one day planned to make like a start to finish, like record my process of this is how I make a Dark Issues episode. But I never quite got around to it. So this will be, I guess this is kind of one step along that kind of path of showing the behind the scenes of it all a bit. I mean, I don't know how interesting the behind the scenes of Dark Issues is. It's a lot of me sitting down, reading papers and books. That's about it. And then a lot of me sitting down writing.
Lots and lots of words.
Lots and lots of words. I think the Vache episode was 14,000 words.
It was more than 14.
Was it?
It had to have been more than 14.
I'll tell you exactly how many it was. I think it was just over 14,000.
It had to, yeah. And for anyone who might be new, who's actually in the chat right now, don't get used to like an hour and 45-minute episode.
It's
'Cause that's not the norm.
13,441.
Really?
Yeah, so that's a bit shorter than 14,000. I'm overselling myself there.
Yeah. But yeah, an hour and 45 minutes, you're not going to get that every 2 weeks. So don't.
I mean, no one wants that every 2 weeks. It's too long, right? It's like, because I mean, sometimes people say, I don't worry about it if it's long, but I mean, you don't want to be sitting there like listening to that. I mean, Jesus.
Yes, they would, Ben. See? What did I just tell you?
The emoji recap. Yeah, right, Amanda.
Yeah. No. No, they're not going to be less detailed. We like the emoji recaps.
Oh,
Okay,
Ken says,
so-
what equipment am I getting next? Let me talk about equipment because that's exciting for me.
No, it's 7:00 Pacific, and I'm looking at my little
Microphone.
time zones.
That's it. I've
See?
got everything I need now, Ken. I just want to get a new microphone. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to go for a Shure SM7B. I have sort of teetered on the idea of getting an Electro Voice RE20, but I don't like it as much as a Shure. And I think the Shure's closer to this one because I don't want to jump too far from this one because I like what this one does.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to go with that. This is my new equipment that I got in the episode. I got this. Ooh, an Audion ID22.
See, I could have sent
really
Ben a piece
saucy.
of a cardboard box with a bunch of little like things plugged into it and written like names underneath and told him it was a box with a bunch of knobs, and he'd have been happy. He'd have thought it worked.
Yeah, I just like knobs. The reason I wanted this one is because it had a big knob in the middle. That sounds bad, doesn't it?
Yeah, it did.
On that note, thanks very much for watching, everybody.
Oh my gosh. Oh god. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really need a new microphone either, to be honest, because this one I think does a really good job. But I just think that now that I'm hitting like big boy numbers and like, on iTunes and doing like professional level like numbers on iTunes, I want a professional level microphone. It's like personal goals, isn't it? Like, but I mean, I quite like this microphone and I think it's quite a nice mic actually. So I'll probably keep it. And anyway, and even if I do get a new one and use them both, maybe, I don't know. I don't know how that would work.
It's always good to have something to hold on to until you find out for a fact that the new one works, Ben.
Yes, because I don't do that before, did I? So
See,
when I
Ben-
bought this Audient ID22, I got rid
Ben
of my
has a
old-
really bad habit of doing this. Go ahead, Ben. You explain.
So I bought this Audient ID22 and I sold my old one that it was replacing like 4 days before the episode had to be out. And but I bought this second hand and the guy who sent it to me forgot to send the power cable. So I had like I had it, but I couldn't plug it in. So
But-
and I had like 3 days to get the episode out. So I had to
And
send
where
an
was your-
email.
And where was your old one?
I'd already sold it.
And already sent it off. So
Yeah, and I'd already sent it because I had to sell it to pay for this one, like in part. So yeah, I had to email the guy saying like no pressure or anything, but if you could get that cable to me really quick, that'd be really good. But he did. He got it to me the next day, so it was amazing.
Yeah.
And
So Ben
everyone
has
was happy.
yeah, he has a really bad habit of buying something new, but getting rid of the old one before he even gets the new one and like
I
knows
can't
that it
afford
works.
the new one, so I have to, like overlap.
No,
It has to
Ken,
be this kind of-
Ken, that's the problem. It's not
Lessons
the
weren't
first
learned.
time.
Yeah, because I do the same. I do it again. Amanda bumping up donations to prevent this from happening. I don't
No,
know about
it's
that.
not a matter of donation. It's a matter of the Benism. It just
Yeah,
doesn't
me
like.
just not being irresponsible.
It's getting the new and making sure it works first, and then sending the old one.
Yeah, I'm just irresponsible. But I was like, I got 4 days. That'd be fine, and it just didn't. Yeah.
Hashtag reasons why we love Ben.
It's all good. It's all just it's all good fun, isn't it? Keeps me on my toes. Keeps life interesting.
Yeah, we can train monkey. Oh my god.
Anyway,
All right.
I'm gonna go
Anyway,
bed.
yes, you go to
What time
bed.
is it? 3 o'clock in the morning. That's
It's-
not too bad.
No,
It's
not
time to go
really.
get lunch.
Did you feed the cat dinner?
Oh yeah,
Did she eat? Okay.
yeah,
Hey.
yeah.
It wouldn't be the first time you forgot to feed her dinner, so
No, I mean if she doesn't wake up, I don't remember because I need.
she's
her
on a feeding bed.
If
Yeah.
she's not climbing all over my head, then I generally forget. But yeah, no. Thanks very much for stopping by the live stream, everybody. Pleasure as always. Next episode next week, I guess.
Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah.
guys. Thanks
Oh,
for
and the next live
everything.
stream will be end of March, I guess.
End
won't
of March. Yes,
it? Yeah.
I'll publish
Yeah.
it.
Cool. All right. Cheers. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Sleep tight.
Oh, I haven't pressed the button. I don't know how to press it. Wait.
He doesn't know how to end it.